For more on all this, let's bring in Colonel Grisha Yakubovich, an Israeli-Palestinian Relations Expert and the former head of the Civilian Department of Coordination of Government Activities in the territories for the Israeli Defense Forces. Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us in studio. Let's start with the operation this morning in the West Bank city of Nablus. What are we likely to see as a result in terms of escalation? Should we see anything?
I really hope that there will be no escalation. I think this is Israel's goal, and I think this is also the PA's, the Palestinian Authority goal, that it will not really escalate. Unfortunately, for them, this is a moral strike to the ones who support terror, to the people who call themselves Shuhada al-Aqsa or Azadin al-Qassam or others, the terror groups. And I believe that there will be a huge impact on those people to maybe they will even try and hide now. I think that there will be no escalation. I believe that the Palestinian Authority will implement their responsibilities to create law and order in Area A. And I think that this is Israel's and the PA's interest that the situation will actually calm down. So maybe we will see some declarations or maybe some, I don't know, demonstrations in the following 3 days. But then I believe that it will all cool down.
As the former head of the coordinator for the government activities in the territories, I wanted to ask you, in order to get into Area A, for the IDF to enter, to carry out these raids and arrests, they have to coordinate with the Palestinian Authority. So can you tell us how this process works?
We need to be precise. The reality in the West Bank was changed dramatically since the Second Intifada, September 2000. Until then, actually, the PA and Israel worked according to Oslo, and you could not enter to Area A without getting the permission of the Palestinian Authority. So then, or until then, it was coordinated. Since then, Israel built a security fence to contain terror, and the coordination between Israel and the Palestinian Authority stopped, and then it was renewed again in 2005 when Mahmoud Abbas declared an end to the Second Intifada. And actually since then, Israel is actually holding two major assets. One is the security fence that contains terror in the West Bank, and two, Israel actually gained this achievement or this ability to have free access to Area A to deal with terror. It means if the Palestinian Authority will not implement their responsibilities to deal with law and order and terror, it means Israel will call them, tell them move aside, and they will enter and do that. This is how it works. It's not a coordination that Israel will call somebody from the PA and ask them for permission to move in.
So what kind of coordination between the Israeli military do these types of raids need? Are they kind of months of planning? We do understand that this person who they killed this morning, this is the third attempt to go in and capture him. So what type of planning is provided from the West Bank for the IDF to know of people like this's whereabouts? Is it months in advance? Is it weeks? Is it hours?
When we look at the modus operandi of the IDF, we need to understand that there is an approach in front of Gaza. So in Gaza, the IDF works with, of course, the intelligence and other abilities, and reaching to precise targets inside Gaza, working from outside. In the West Bank, it is a totally different reality. The IDF actually is working from inside. So the ability to collect intelligence and to create opportunities or to be able to deal with terror inside the West Bank is way more easier than to do it in front of Gaza. So there is a 24/7 readiness of the IDF, and this is something that we all need to understand. Since last February, since this wave of violence started from the West Bank, the IDF added some new forces or in addition to the forces in the West Bank, and there is a 24/7 readiness, being ready to catch terrorists. And this is exactly what happened last night. I'm sure that there was a specific intelligence that the IDF got, and the readiness was in a matter of, I don't know, minutes, sometimes a few hours, and just like that, they're inside.
And I just want to ask you very quickly, we've got about 45 seconds left. Is there ever any contention between the Palestinian Authority and the IDF, or the IDF continuing to carry out these raids? We've seen since the start of that wave of violence in Israel, almost nightly and daily raids inside the West Bank, specifically in Jenin and Nablus. So what is the PA's response to all this?
Well, I said there is a difference between declarations and between the reality. So this is the Palestinian Authority interest that the IDF will be capable to deal with terror, law and order. This IDF's ability serves also the PA. Otherwise, the PA will lose the West Bank to Hamas like they lost Gaza to Hamas.
Colonel Grisha Yakubovich, an Israeli-Palestinian Relations Expert, thank you.
Thank you very much.